Good day, students. So, what I want to do now is I want to revise the concept of word that you need to know for the practical coming up. And then, obviously, for the other assessments. Just on that note, remember you won't be writing a test. Normally, the four assessments consisted of a practical, a test, a internal examination, and an external examination, like you did do in full. However, because of COVID and time limits, the DHET, so this comes from the department, it's not a individual decision made by the college. It was uniformly decided that you are only going to write three assessments. This includes the practical, the internal, as well as the external examination. So the test falls away. However, this doesn't mean the content change, it's only the amount of assessments. Okay, so I don't think it's a positive either or a negative. It's just your year mark is just going to count now, obviously, out of three assessments and not four. So let's start off with revising MS Word. Now you will see that in the drive I have saved for you a Microsoft Word document, which I've also sent on the group. That is the scope for your practical. Okay, so we will have those topics or headings in front of us while we are doing this video. Okay, so the first one there is your header and your footer. So basically, what I want you to do is I'm not going to work from an examination paper today. I just want to revise the concepts. Then, once that is built into your brain, we will do a practical paper next weekend so that you don't feel overwhelmed by all the information. Okay, so header and footer is found under the ribbon tab Insert. You will click on insert and you will see that there is a header and a footer. Now from info, you will remember that your header will appear at the top part of your document and the footer will then be at the bottom. The header and the footer will have basically your information of your document, like question, your name. It's something that they normally ask you to fill in. Okay, so let's quickly revise. When it's asked of you to put in your name on the left hand side, you will naturally go to home and choose the left aligned button. However, you will see that by doing that, my question 1A, which was already at the right alignment, is now moving to the left as well, which I don't want to have. So you need to now know that you need to put your name in there. Obviously, it's going to be your name, not written out as your name. And then you will use your tab to move question 1A once, twice until it is there. Okay, there is more ways. This is just the easiest way for me. And if you want to figure out a new way and it works for you better, all good. For me, I'm showing you the way that I know best and works for me best. Okay. Then while we're in the header, we can also insert a page number. Now, they won't be so nice. They will probably ask you to put in the page number, and then later on in your question paper, you need to put in your name and surname. We'll do that now. Let's just revise. So, obviously, hence that your name is now left and your question is right, and we don't want the page number to be at the bottom, we want it in the top, therefore, the header. We want it to be in the middle. Okay, again, there's more than one ways you can move it via the tab, but you can also now go and insert it at the current position. Now, very important, once you are looking here, you think to yourself, why, where is your page numbers? Okay, I want you to have a look. Everything else is gray. Okay, But there's a little design button that says header and footer tools. Once I click inside of the document, anyway, outside of the header or the footer, that disappears. So I want you to realize when you want to do editing or changes, formatting on your header, you must be clicked on it. You must be clicked inside of it for you to change anything. The moment you do that, that little design toolbar comes up. It's almost like a suitcase for everything in Word, for your pictures, you've got it for your tables, for everything you do, you have a little art suitcase. Inside that art suitcase, there's different crayons, there's paint, there's brushes that you can use, but it's only applicable to do there. So this is also where you will find your page number. Remember I said I want it in the middle. So click in the middle, or if you're uncomfortable clicking, make sure you're after your name and press tab once, but see now that can happen. So I don't like that method. I will rather just click in the middle. Okay. Then I go to remember you must be in your design toolbar. Go to page number. Say you want it at the top of the page. Yes, but I want it at the current position. Although that picture shows a one left aligned, you're going to click on it and it's going to appear. Okay, let's say you have now done everything. You have not put in your name. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go to the footer for something different. I'm saying I want the page number at the bottom of the page. I'm going to choose that option. Okay, now I'm carrying on with my question paper. Now all of a sudden they want my name to be typed in at the right hand side. So I'm going to say your name. Okay, that works perfectly fine. But sometimes when you're in your header, it can happen that your page number has disappeared or your headings disappear. Then you have to go and insert whatever you had there. So let's say your name was in there and you click in here and you're carrying on, and now you have put in the design, you say your page number, top of page, and now your name has disappeared. Okay, now you have to make sure that they won't ask you to put your name and the page number at the same alignment, but it can happen like it did now. So then you must just move this page number either to the left or the right or the center, whatever, and then you need to go and put your name in from scratch. Okay, so just remember, just take note of that. Okay, then there's also an option for you to say you want your first page not to have a number. For whatever reason, you might, I'm just going to take out this for the sake of not having page numbers all over the place. So basically, what I want you to see here is I want you to see that on page one, there appears a 1. On page 2, there's a 2. So when I scroll down, that will obviously be page 3 then in my document. But you can see there it's only 1 of 2. And then recently I've realized not a lot of students know. Let's say you're typing something and they say your first paragraph must only be 300 words. This is just on the sideline. Then you can highlight that and say that is the amount of words that it's counted off. Okay. But anyway, that is just to show you what that means. So those little words highlighted there is 71 out of your 400. Okay, let's just quickly have a look. So on page 1, I don't want the first page to appear. They tell you, please take off. It shouldn't be on the first page. Then you will go again. Remember, you need to, I'm just going to quickly show you. Don't think it's gone. Now, where is the design is there. You must click on it. Then you say different first page. Can you see now everything somewhere disappears? So if you want your name still on there, you must type it in again. It will now be on your first page, but the page number will be gone. Okay? Sometimes they can also ask you only print odd and even pages. So in other words, only print page 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. Okay, so that's a header and footer, and you will see later on there is also page numbers that I have included in the fourth little line. Then footnote and endnote is found under the reference button in your ribbon. Okay, just to quickly clarify, you need to distinguish between footnote and endnote. Okay, an endnote is at the end of a document. A footnote will be at the end of a page. Okay, so let's say sorry about that. Let's say that I want something to be written at the end of the page. Let's say there was a word and I want to say, just let's say for instance, uh, it's modern toys, and I want that to say Lego at the end. Then I say I want to insert a footnote. So can you see what happens? It takes me to the end of that. I want that. If you click on it and it says, okay, just there you want to insert the footnote, and what must it say? It must say Lego. Okay, for instance. So you're gonna have Lego over there. Okay, then after that, you are going to also be able to show your notes. Those are the notes that show. Sometimes they ask you to show the notes, and then that is what's written there. So remember, a little footnote or an end note. The reason for that is to explain something. Okay, and then an end note will be at the end of the document. So can you see the difference between the two? That footnote was at the end of that specific page. A footnote can also be at the end of your fourth or your fifth page. It depends on where you decide it to be. Just also note that you can now click on that little setting there, and you can now change the number format. You can make it Roman numerals, you can make it numbers. They sometimes ask you to 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 choose one of those options, and then you can also select end of section or end of document, whatever they ask you. Okay, and then obviously it will now be applied to the whole document because it is an end note. So that's end note and footnotes. Then the next one there is tables and columns. Now remember, there is more than one way to do things in Word. Okay, you can insert a table via the insert a button in the ribbon. You can either say you want to draw it like that. You can say you want to draw it with a pencil. So you can literally go and draw in the the table. Okay, remember, if you choose that, if you're busy with this and you don't know, you want your mouse to become a little cursor arrow again, you have to press escape. I have my preferences. My preferences for Word is to actually see what they are asking me. They are asking me to insert a table of what. I want 3 columns, and I want, let's say, um, 2 rows. Okay, and I say okay. So that's the better option for me. Remember, the horizontal, or in this case, the vertical one that I've highlighted here, is called the column, and then the line there is called the row. Okay, so let's look at a few formats on table. Again, I want you to see that once I click outside of the table, I cannot format it. I need my little art suitcase at the top. So I click on it, and there it appears. You have two little layers in your art box. Like, for instance, when you have a little box, it falls open. The one side has all your paint and your oil pastels, and the other side have all the cookies and the crayons, etc. So this is the same. At the one end, you can format the design of your table. In other words, the shading, the borders, all of those things. And you can even choose your grid tables, but you don't really work with that at this point. The layout is under layout when you need to merge your cells, when you need to change the layout of a specific text inside of your columns. Okay, so let's quickly make a little thing up. Let's say this was all, okay, this is all about toys. So let's say girls, for instance, all the girl toys. Um, just for the sake of practicing, all the boy toys. Remember, you go from one cell to another cell by tab or by clicking, and then let's somewhat say price just for the sake of it. Okay. Now the question paper is asking you, for instance, to shade this with a gray color. Okay. Shading is under design. I also don't always remember which one, so you can just don't think now, well, Hona, just go and see. It's not under layout, it's under design. Okay, it kind of makes sense that it should be under design because it's a designing option. You are designing the background. Okay, so again, remember when you click outside, there won't be any format, so make sure you click on it so that it can appear. Okay, then they also sometimes like to ask you to change the outside border. Very important to make sure you click on the whole thing when you want only that lines of that outside of the whole table to be thicker. They like asking that. So you say outside borders. What must happen to the outside borders? Okay, they now decided it's somewhat changed to that, but I actually want to design the outside border, so I'll go into the option there and I want to say, okay, I want the border styles to actually be a thick line. And now I can either go and click it like we do in Excel, or I can go and say I want it to be the outside border like that. Okay, then one another thing, let's say I've got written here Barbie, and then let's say we've got Lego, and let's say, oh, I'm not going to put a price in there, it's still debatable, just for the sake of it. And I want all of this to now have the same layout. In other words, I want it to be centered horizontally as well as vertically. I'll just have to take out that enter for that. When this happens, you must put on your paragraph marker to see what went wrong. I see there's an extra little thing there. Then you can go back. Okay, remember the easy part of when you have one liner. Then you can go at home and you can actually just change it to left and center, etc. But once it's like this, so it becomes a little bit difficult, it becomes a little bit more. Now there's two lines and they want the thing in the middle horizontally and vertically, then you have to go to layout to choose one of those options. You can also change the text direction here by clicking on the text direction, and you can also decide, let's say you want to insert, you right click. Let's say you want to merge. That's not going to really work if I merge all of that, but let's try. I go to design, layout, I say merge cells. So all the borders has been taken out. It's one big cell now. Okay, so that's basically the options for your tables. And then we get to columns. Columns is also a thing that they like asking a lot. Let's say I ask you to take this paragraph and the next paragraph. How do I know which is which? There's a little paragraph marker in between those two. So I know they will tell me. Okay, we'll do an example next weekend to show you exactly what's meant by that. So you need to highlight the two paragraphs that needs, or the three. It doesn't have to be two. I'm just doing two for now. Then you have to go to the layout button and choose columns. Choose the two or three, whatever they ask you. And then they also like to ask you to justify it. They mostly ask to the fully justification. Can you see the difference? Once I click there, and I compare it to left, it makes a difference. This makes it look neat. It's almost like a newspaper. Okay, let's say I ask you that I want all of that. Let's say the earliest toys were made from clay. I want that to actually be in the first little column. Then I have to put my cursor right in front of that thousands, and I need to go to layout again and say I want a break there. I want a column break. And can you see what happens now? It took that whole little paragraph, small paragraph, right straight over to the side. And then they also like asking you for a line in between, which is found under columns, more columns, and then just click line in between and okay. There it is. Okay. Then while we're busy with the breaks, because we just spoke about column breaks, another break that they can ask you to put in is say, I want child development. Everything from child development onwards, I want to be on a new page. Then again, it's like scissors. You're not going to start cutting there. You're going to actually start cutting right in front of child development. You're going to go to break, and this is actually a page break. Okay? There is a reason for me using my paragraph marker. I'm so used to it, it doesn't bother me anymore because it's part of my lessons. But I know some of you don't like it because it does look like a spider web when it's on. It's all over the place. But unfortunately, you need this to edit your document, because if they ask you to take out that, then you must know you should put it behind and then just take it out. Just backspace it. Okay, to take it out again. Okay, then while we're busy with page breaks, I'm going to jump to line numbering, which is the third one from the bottom. Line numbering also is important when you do your breaks, because you need to actually show the computer where you want your line numbering to take place. Line numbering refers to basically numbering a paragraph. So let's say I've put my little cursor there, and I go to home, and I say, okay, I want um my numbering to start at, let's say, you want all of this. Sorry, I'm just looking for the numbering. It's also under layout, under breaks. The line numbers needs to start line numbering. I'm just going to show you quickly. Okay, I want it at this section, line numbers. I want it to start at, let's say, 1. Okay, okay. Can you see now? I didn't specify. So this thing goes on and on and on and number everything. If they only want this paragraph to be numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then you must either highlight the thing and say line number and say line number options and say you want it on the selected text and say line numbers and say add number and say okay, okay, and then that will happen and it will automatically put in the section break. That's the easiest way. Again, that is my way. If you want to go and put in that continuous break, which is the continuous one that you put in manually, then that's also fine. Then you're going to do the same. But can you see now it becomes, there's an extra enter. So for me, it's just easy just to mark the thing and then go to line numbers, choose line number options, choose the selected options, or at this case now you can must now say it is the section line numbers. Let's say they ask you to let it start at 3, then you can say okay, start at 3 and okay, okay. And can you see now it's only numbered that little lines? And the reason why I started at 3 is I've asked you to only select that. Okay, then we're at normal font and paragraph formatting. That's basically just your easy stuff of literally go and highlighting, making sure that if they ask you to change it to a specific font, let's say Arial Black, you want it 26, you want it underline, you maybe want also only the sentence case. In other words, you wanted to, you're not going to retype that whole thing if they ask you to change it from uppercase. You're just going to choose that options there. Then you can also highlight something. Let's say you want that to be highlighted. Remember, there's a difference between shadowing, shading, and highlight. Let's say we're going to make it a little, we won't be able to print color. So they won't, if they ask you color, it will come out gray naturally. Okay, and then paragraph formatting is also an important part. We've started with paragraph formatting with the lines, but the formatting is basically found under your home ribbon when you click there at the paragraph settings. So basically what you need to be able to do is to indent your paragraph. Indent means it's literally moving that whole thing. Let me just quickly show you. Let's say I'm taking it to 2. I can delete everything because it's already calibrated in centimeters. Can you see there's a little ruler? Now, for those of you who forgot, when you click on view, the ruler can be ticked. Then it is there. It's like the paragraph marker. I can't work without it. Okay, let's just quickly go back. So can you see that indent? It's taken that thing 2 centimeters inward. Okay, they like asking you that the first line must be maybe indented, then that is how it should look. Or they can ask you the actual spacing in between the lines must be double. Can you see the difference in comparison to maybe the 1.5? Okay, just one more thing about line spacing. There's the shortcut for line spacing. However, I don't like to use that option because you don't have control over everything. But you need to know that sometimes they ask you for a 1.0 spacing and then they refer to single lines. Sometimes they refer to 2.0, then it's double, and 3.0 would be multiple. Okay, the shortcuts that I've talking about now, that is there. Okay, so you can use it. Again, it's up to you. I'm just telling you the synonym which they like to sometimes do. Okay, then there's an option, mail merge. I'm going to send you a separate one for that, a separate little video that's not made by me. If you prefer me explaining, I will send a new video, but it is a very nice video. So watch it. If you feel uncomfortable with somebody else, then I will make you one, but I'm going to send you that one which I have. Mail merge is also not a train smash for most of you. Now, just so that you know, mail merge is basically um, the mailings, and mail merge is used to, for instance, let's say I am working at a doctor's office and I want to send my patients their, let's say, their bill at the end of the day. Then I'm not going to go and type in Mrs. Botha, Mrs. Ngulozi, etc. I'm going to just use the mail merge wizard and then use a pre um, preset table or database to set that up. Okay, but watch those videos, it will help you. Now, let's quickly just go back to sort paragraphs alphabetically. So basically, let's say I want this. You're not going to cut and paste, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to use the option in your home ribbon. You're going to say A to Z. You're going to say you want it to be either ascending or descending, and you're going to say okay. Can you see what it does? It literally just throws it around again um, in that order alphabetically. Okay. Then they are also asking you that you should know find and replace. So find and replace is basically an option that you have. Let's say it happened to me the other day that I was busy typing a document, and then I realized I actually want a word. It was a word that came up in a question paper I set up, and I wanted that word to now be in a specific font. And I realized that word that I refer to in my question paper, it comes up so often that if I have to go and look for it now, it's going to take me forever. So hopefully and helpfully, replace was my lifesaver. So basically what happens is you choose the option, but before you do that, please make sure that you put the cursor in front of your document. Now, normally they will just somehow ask you for a word, which doesn't kind of make sense to me. They just want to exercise your skill. But I want you to understand why we would have find and replace. That was a very good example that I gave you now. Another example would be, let's say, for instance, you've done a study on the weather and you're a scientist, and everything has been converted to from Fahrenheit to Celsius degrees, but you forgot to put in the right unit. In other words, the conversion is correctly done, but the unit Fahrenheit shouldn't be there. Then you would ask the computer to replace all the things in the document that is written as Fahrenheit in Celsius, for instance. Okay, now I don't know the background of this Word document, so I'm just going to take toy because I see toy comes up all along the way. And I'm going to say, okay, I want the word toy. No capital letters, only um, the word toy. I want you to look for this. This is you talking to the computer now. You telling the computer, please look for toy and replace it with. So can you see you need to talk to him via this? You need to put your cursor there. You can't tell him to look for that and then format that. You need to actually say, okay, replace it with what? I want you to replace it with exactly the same words. Okay, so find whole words only that is toy, and one the case must be the same. And I want you to make it bold for me. Okay, I also want the underline style to be that. The color won't really affect you because you can't print in color. The students I teach as their question papers, it's at a different platform, is obviously now digitally marked, so I can ask that of them. But you are lucky you can't. Okay, so and I want all of them to summa be all caps, which means, remember, all caps is uppercase and small caps is lowercase. So I'll say okay, and please then just say replace all. Okay, we've done zero replacement. Why would that be? Now let's have a look. Because toys is a word, not toy. Okay, so let's try again. I go to home, I say replace. Let's work with that. Let's say replace all. Okay, now there's 14 done. That's not going to happen to you because they're going to choose a word that actually works. You shouldn't get zero. That's not a good replacement value. Okay, so can you see everything has been replaced? It doesn't mean you have to replace a word with a different word. Okay, you can also, like I just showed you now, use a word and then just format that word. But let's say now you've made a mistake. It's important that you can't do a replacement on a replacement that's already been done in your document. So please make sure you click on that and say you want no formatting to be done. Okay? No formatting whatsoever must be done. You're gonna go and take everything off, and you want, now let's say you want the word toys to be replaced with let's say, what's a different word for, I'm just gonna be creative and say speelgoed, just for the sake of Afrikaans. Speelgoed, okay, or play. Let's keep it play. Just say play. Okay, it's not gonna make sense, but anyway. The rest I want to leave, but I want the font to be changed to a bold and italic, and I somehow want it to be 18, and I want it to be in a strike through, just somehow for the sake of, and I want to replace all. Can you see now they've done 19? Okay, so that is basically what's going to happen. Okay, that is line find and replace. We've done line numbering. I've just shown you that's the paragraph numbering. Now we get to hyphenation. Now, before I explain how you do hyphenation, it's important for me that you understand what is hyphenation. Hyphenation is basically a, let's call it a function in Word that helps you to automatically hyphenate your document. For instance, let's say I scroll down and replacement should become replace hyphen, because that is what you call it. And then can you see mint goes over? But I'm not going to go and do that with everything. Okay, it's got to do with my margins. So this computer has a built-in, or the Word has a built-in function that does that for me. I don't have to manually do it. You just have to know that it's under layout. Can you see everything funny? If it's not under home, obviously insert is your header and footer, but everything other than that is under layout. The line numbers, the hyphenation. I just quickly want to show you, there's also by insert, you will see there's a page number. That's also okay. Don't, that's the same thing, but I want you to keep and stick with what I've showed you. Okay, but I'm just showing that maybe you are looking at it and you're wondering why it is there. Okay, so the level number of the hyphenation is found under there. Just make sure again that it's Go and Control A. Control A is the shortcut key for highlighting your whole document. And then when you press hyphenation and you say automatic, then can you see, I'll just show you quickly when taking off my paragraph marker, you will see there arrows and terracotta as is also being during is also being hyphenated. You don't have to worry about the correction or the about this. It will be correctly done. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that language part. So that's hyphenation. Please do not choose manually. Nothing's going to happen when you do manually. You still have to put over your own gears if you have a manual car. Automatic, you can just push that acceleration and up you go. Okay, then we've got level numbering, which should actually say multi-level numbering. And I want just quickly to show you. Sorry. Um, sorry, I don't.